The Champions League semis were chaotic as all hell, so let's talk about them. Before we get into this video though, I just want to plug my Twitch again because I'm doing a North London Derby watch along on Thursday. You don't want to miss out on that. You have the uber anxiousness of me being an Arsenal supporter, the absolute hatred I have towards Spurs. It'll be a really fun stream, so be sure to follow the Twitch. So we begin with Liverpool versus Villarreal. The first leg was at Anfield, and right off the bat, Villarreal just soaked up Liverpool's intense pressure. Although, Villarreal's counters were not as effective as in the previous round. They only had one shot in the entire match. Liverpool throughout the first half unleashed no mercy. They were relentless with their constant passing sequences, but never amounted to anything besides a missed opportunity here and there and everywhere really. Liverpool's final product just hasn't been that great, and I know a lot of people actually commented on the last predictions video because I mentioned Mo Salah wasn't in the greatest form, because then he scored like 2 goals against Manchester United, but guys, it's Manchester United. But even though Liverpool's final product wasn't exactly there in that first half, Villarreal were still having some anxiety because of Geronimo Rulli, who opted to punch every single shot. I can understand if you're, say, a keeper from Carpi FC. My brother in Christ, this is the Champions League semi-finals. The second half finally saw Liverpool make a breakthrough off a mean deflection, and then Villarreal just kinda gave up. 2 minutes after the initial goal, Sadio Mane doubled the lead. However, there was still the second leg to be played in Villarreal, and for some reason, Liverpool looked very overwhelmed. Their midfield in that first half looked like 2019-20 Arsenal. In just 2 minutes, Villarreal halved the deficit thanks to summer signing Boulaïdia, and minutes before the half, again the theory of the world being under Wenger's puppetry was proven again. Francis Coquelin makes the tie level, and yet again, Unai Emery is a god has fallen. Remember when I talked about Geronimo Rulli being an average shot stopper? Ignore that. Villarreal, when Liverpool scored their first goal, just like the first leg, collapsed. In the case of the second leg, it just seemed like Villarreal just ran out of energy, and it makes sense because in that first half, they were putting the intensity up to 10. So in the end, Liverpool win 5-2 on aggregate and are into the final. Manchester City versus Real Madrid was the other semi-final, and this one did not disappoint. Madrid in the first leg, at the Etihad by the way, had no Casemiro, and because of that, their defense was even more disastrous than ever before. In just 11 minutes, City found themselves up 2-0. The City midfield was absolutely dominating, constantly creating breakthroughs for the Manchester City attack. It honestly should have been 4-0 by the half-hour mark. But remember who we're talking about here. Fool, did you really think Karim Benzema would be defeated this soon? Preposterous is what I would say if I was a Madrid supporter. Again though, Real would not give up. A brilliant solo goal by Vini Jr. kept Los Blancos in it. But it was never ending. The goals just kept coming. Bernardo Silva with an ice-cold finish. Courtois couldn't do anything. Benzema added another to his tally 8 minutes later, and finally, we could breathe. 4-3. This is the greatest sport known to man. Let no one else say otherwise. I honestly preferred baseball anyways. There's still a second leg to be talked about here. Was it as insane? No, but it was still extremely entertaining. Despite City going a little more defensive in their approach as opposed to their possession-based game usually, both teams shared plenty of chances, Madrid with the better ones. And Madrid could have easily gone up about 2-0 in the first half, but they just kept squandering their chances. And that pattern of Madrid squandering chances kept going on into the second half, right at the beginning of the second half as well. The countless missed opportunities were bad enough, but then Riyad Mahrez's heart-stopping dagger gave City a 5-3 lead on aggregates. This should have been the end of Real Madrid, but for about the 700th time, they did not give up. Subbed on at the 68th minute, Rodrigo scored twice in the last 5 minutes of the match. And then in extra time, we got that long-awaited and certified Manchester City moment. Benzema converts the penalty, and at the end of 120 minutes, somehow, Real Madrid advanced, winning 6-5 on aggregate. So, our Champions League finalists are Liverpool and Real Madrid.
I'm a professional. This is what I do.
Last time these two battled in a final, it was 2018. We had Sergio Ramos go Brock Lesnar armbar on Mo Salah, and there was also that German keeper who resembled Neuer that night. We'll talk about Real Madrid first, who come into this final as, funnily enough, the underdogs. Obviously, we have to mention Karim Benzema. 15 goals in the Champions League so far. I don't doubt for a second that this man is yet again a threat in the final. But then you have players like Vinny Jr. with 6 assists, Luka Modric with 4 assists. I talked about Rodrigo in my last predictions video, and, you know, he scored 2 goals against Manchester City in the dying minutes. His tally in La Liga right now, not exactly impressive, but he has 5 goals in total in the Champions League, and another 2 assists to that. Thibaut Courtois is what keeps Real Madrid's defense from looking like a clown show. This man constantly saves that back four every single match. Speaking of defense, Casemiro, he's basically like another line of protection for that back four. He is so vital to that defense not capitulating, as you saw in the Manchester City legs. Toni Kroos doesn't do anything spectacular, but he just does the right things, and he does them really well. I feel like Ferland Mendy deserves some plaudits as well. You had the assist in the first leg and the goal line clearance in the second. And how about Eduardo Kamavinga? Every single time he's come off the bench in a Champions League match, things just change. But the one thing that I really love about this Real Madrid side is it just feels like they know that they're not indestructible. They know they're not invincible, unlike previous years. Most teams that usually have that kind of mentality collapse under that pressure. Real Madrid did do that, but they've built back up. I'm seeing a character from this Real Madrid side that I have never seen ever before. It doesn't matter if this team is 5, 6, 7 goals down, they do not give up. They will score 6 goals in the next 10 minutes if they have to. But of course, there's the other finalist, Liverpool. Their depth is better than ever. Their top scorer still is Mo Salah with 8 goals, and he was fantastic in the group stages. He hasn't exactly been showing up in the knockouts though. Don't get me wrong, every time he's on the pitch, he can be a difference maker, but in terms of that end product, it's just not really there as of late. On the opposite side of the spectrum is Sadio Mane though, who is in pretty good form as of recent. He has 5 goals, looked a lot sharper in the knockout stages, so it's good to see that going into the final for Liverpool. Diogo Jota is another threat. He's not exactly been as impressive, but yet again, another difference maker. And that's not even all of the attack. We still have Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andrew Robertson, who averaged 2 key passes per game at the fullback position. These guys are basically the peak of modern fullbacks. Luis Diaz has easily been January's signing of the season. The man is just a baller and a half, and I think he has either 2 or 3 goals in the Champions League since January. Midfield, I've already talked about Liverpool's depth. It's just insane. There's so many different midfielders with different play styles, and it just adds layers and layers of ways that Liverpool can attack and defend. But the key player here would be Thiago. Thiago is just the definition of a Spanish midfielder. When you think of the peak of the Spanish generation, it's passing. And this man has it all. His off-the-ball movement is incredible as well. Just the way he makes these moves here or there to trick the defenders into going one way or another, it's very small, but very effective. Virgil van Dijk has consistently been one of the best defenders in the Champions League. He can also head some into the net, just like his partner Ibrahima Konate. And finally, we have world-class goalkeeper Alisson. So, what's the prediction? Who's going to win the Champions League? And more importantly, who's about to be jinxed? I'm going to have to go with the popular opinion here and say Liverpool. I just think with how many ways Liverpool can attack, that's going to overwhelm Real Madrid more than ever. You got the final third, Luis Diaz, Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, even Diogo Jota if he kind of improves his form. And of course, as I said before, even the defenders can contribute. Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, even Van Dijk. But I would not be shocked if Real Madrid won this final. Because as I said before, this is a character that is unmatched. No other team has that type of drive and fight that Real Madrid have. And you could never forget about Karim Benzema. I fully expect that man to score at least once in the Champions League final this year. It's going to be a fun final to watch for sure though. But of course, a massive shout out to all the patrons, including Andre Root, Janos Balas, Miliaway009, Alex Rod, Antonio, Daniel Ortiz, Darkwolf476, Edgar AS, Ethan Scaraccio, Francisco Hernandez, Jason TD, Joseph Bonfante, Nguyen Tin Mintang, The Motor Drive, Tomicus, Victor, Ariel Alflor, Declan Malloy, Emmett Shea, Lewis, MX Weeb, Piano, Alberto Azamar, Alibium, Andres Was Never Here, Anolfo Martinez Jr., Big Bird, Billy Jack Jory, Cash Getty, Chris Damasceno, Dios, Exo, FIFA America, Harvey Fenwick, James Huggett, Jose Moreta, Ken Ramirez, Luis Tosano, Mark Morcos, Mohamed Abokale, Nicholas Baptista, Nickel Chips, President Pulisic, Quinn J. Rose, Tyler Avon, and Unbroken Persona. If you would like to join the Patreon, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow my Twitter if you'd like, follow my Instagram if you want, follow my TikTok, trying to get to 8,000 there, and of course, you can follow my inactive Twitch. Just a reminder, North London Derby watch along on Thursday. But until then, I'll see you guys.